from PRX.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and friends beyond the binary, it's time for the podcaster that if he wasn't making a sleep podcast that went off topic and acted silly to keep you company and as you fall asleep, I'd probably be, if I had a different voice, I'd be in a group called the Monotones. But for now, I just bring the monotone because I'm here, and you might be wondering, what's this person babbling about? And I'd say, great word. That was an accident, but true. That's about it. In a mouthful. That was a mouthful, too. It's time for Sleep With Me podcast to put you to sleep. Hey, before we get to the story here, everybody, I just wanted to take a second to pause. I know this is not an easy time for anybody, so if you need some extra help right now, there's links to organizations in the show notes. But it's also important for me, as I've said in the past, as I create a safe place for everyone, to remind you to take a second to say that Black Lives Matter. And right now, we all need to be empowered to take actions to support that fact. So you'll hear me talk about it in the Sleepy Supporter Zone, but use the links in the show notes to support Jacob Blake and Jacob Blake's family, either via the GoFundMe that his mother started or support the Milwaukee Freedom Fund for the people letting their voices be heard, that this isn't okay. This is our community and our world, and I really want to encourage you because things have to change, right? So please take those steps. And here's a couple of ways I'm able to bring this podcast twice a week. All right, everybody, it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the loudest part of the podcast. It's brash and it's celebratory, and, it's not for everybody, but I wanted to thank Gabby and Dan for supporting Quip, letting Quip know about it, tagging them on Twitter and Instagram, and letting Quip know their partnership with the show is valuable, and their toothbrushes are pretty awesome, and the pop-up floss thing. So thank you, Gabby, and thank you, Dan, for supporting Quip and letting them know about it. That's the first part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is getting you the support you need, and that will be in the show notes. If you're having a tough time right now, if you need extra resources for self-care, for your mental health, or if you're looking to help be a part of change and support the Black members of our community, there's links in the show notes to organizations to support all of those things. And the last part of Sleepy Supporter Zone is another resource, and it's a book by Ruth King called Mindful of Race, and I want to strongly encourage you to check it out. There'll be a link to Ruth King's website in my show notes where you can check out the book and you can learn more, and that's Mindful of Race. It's been an extremely powerful book for me, and so that's the third part of Sleepy Supporter Zone, which is now over. Before we slow it down, Mystery Bart, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes too. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Kenny, Scotty, and Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. We're raising money for the Water Wheel Foundation, and Scooter might get a perm.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. And what do you say we get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be things you're thinking, things on your mind. Clearly, there's a lot of that, thoughts. Past, present, or future. Feelings, anything emotionally coming up for you. It could be related to thoughts. They could just be there. And you say, well, hello. Not the most opportune time to meet you, feelings, but I could see you're here now. And then that's where I come in and help. Or physical sensations, which is kind of the same thing. You say, oh boy. It could be other stuff, inside or outside, you or where you are, or whatever it is that's keeping you awake. I'm here to take your mind off of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm swirling up a safe place. Oh boy. Some people say that stone soup is the greatest gift, whatever traditional, what do you call that, folk stories have given us. It's the greatest thing that's ever been, stirred in a cauldron before, other than the magical stuff, which of course you say, well, okay. But I'm like swirling up a safe place. Oh boy. No, don't worry. There won't be any eyes and newts in this safe place unless you're a newt, and then, your eyes will be closed, so there technically, ideally, won't be any. I mean, you could open your eyes. If you're a newt and you're listening, can you send me an email, please? That would be so cute, watching you. Would you send your email by tail or with your pawsy poos, or whatever you call them? Also, if you can send me an email, newts, just go to sleepingpodcast.com, use the contact link. Then you don't have to remember anything. What do you think of that Geico? Another question. Do you watch television? 2, do you know what television is? 3, if you've ever watched TV, you're familiar with that gecko. Just wondering. Also, what do you think of, what's the deal with magic? Is that something, on your, I don't know, do you have the equivalent of a driver's license where you could say, yeah, sure. Happy to give my eye and newts when the time comes, I volunteer for those magical potions. But otherwise, stay out of my business. I'm just here. I don't know. Are you like a salamander? Do you know I almost know nothing about newts? I mean, I remember a famous movie character named Newt, probably more than one. Oh, Newt Scamander. I wasn't even think of that. I don't think that's how I say it. Is his name Newt Scamander? Because then it's like, did I ever talk? I mean, I know I've talked about Newt Scamander before. Commander Newt Scamander, one, that thing. And then, it is almost like Salamander. And he's into beings, he takes care of beings. I may not be right about any of this. Also forgot what I was going to do. I went on a tangent there. Oh, I was going to create a safe place. Yeah, that's what I got going in this cauldron here. Stirring it so gently. And now I'm thinking of it now, my mind's full of other things I could go off topic about. Cauldron Cast, the only podcast where I just stir a cauldron. So what I'm going to do is a safe place. I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. So, holy cow. You see, man, do you need that many tangents? I say probably. I don't, but I do. Lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones. Like I said, the monotones would be my doo-wop group or a cappella group. Is a doo-wop and a cappella, is that like a genre of a cappella? Is doo-wop? I'm not kidding. I got a Newt looking at me like, first of all, of course we watch TV when we're able to. You see, I don't think I don't know what your bandwidth is, because if I had a safe place, you could come on in and watch as much TV as you want, as long as you wear headphones, because it's a safe place, right? So maybe there'd be a TV room for Newts, of course. ideally we could get Newt Scamander as like the host of the Newt TV room. So I'm going to send my voice across the deep dark night, long, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders. You've already seen a few of them. So if you're new, you might already be more than a bit mixed up, which is my natural state of being. So let me give you a couple of pieces of information. One, if you're skeptical, doubtful, confused, slightly agitated, those are natural. If this is your first or second or third time listening to the show, totally natural reaction. So a couple of things. One, give the show about 2 or 3 tries before you give up on it. I mean, you don't have to do that. You could give up on it right away. But almost all of my regular listeners say it took 2 or 3 tries and then I became a regular listener, which I guess is, kind of... But give it 2 or 3 tries. Most people are doubtful and confused and slightly their hackles are slightly raised. Because what other podcast does someone talk to a newt in the middle? Not just you say, well, the newt talk and Talkin Newts. You Talking to Newts. That's by Adam and Scott, I think. That's one of my favorite ones. You Talking to Newts. It's a podcast with 2 comedians or comedic actors talking to newts about I forget which band it is. Some band that starts with 2, but not U2. I don't think. Maybe it's We Talking to Newts or You Talking to Newts. I don't know, but it's a good show. Oh, what was I talking about though? I was talking about Talking to Newts. Oh, boy. What was I talking about? If you're skeptical, that's perfectly normal. Podcast doesn't work at everybody. But of course you'd be skeptical. Someone talking about and talking to newts and then talking about podcasts where newts are talked to. In some sense, if you make a podcast for newts by newts, it would be another one. That's one of my favorite ones. But if you were making a podcast for newts, maybe tonight, totally we're going to lean into this. We'll do some sort of newt related podcast. So let me just rest my brain there on that subject. So if you're new, just give this podcast a few tries. Ideally, consume it a little bit loosely because you could just kind of see the podcast is a little bit best consumed out of focus versus concentrating on it. So kind of see how that goes. What else? So what else throws new listeners up? Oh, this is a podcast you don't need to listen to. You could just barely kind of listen, almost at a mumble, but you can listen. It's also, while it was a very early sleep podcast, and now there's, a lot of different versions of it and corporations doing it and stuff. What they don't realize is this is not a podcast that puts you to sleep. It's a podcast that once they figure it out, I'll be in, deep newt-doo. This isn't really a podcast that puts you to sleep. It's here to keep you company as you drift off. So that's one reason why the shows are about an hour. And it's also, I want you to let you know, if you can't sleep or you need a break during the day, I'll be here to the very end of this episode. I don't even know what the episode's going to be other than about newts. So that's another thing I want you to know, is if you can't sleep, I'll be here for you. But yeah, this is a podcast. I kind of keep you company, walk at your side. I'm your companion, your bore bud, your bore bae, your bore bestie, your bore bruh, your bore sib, your bore cuz. I don't know if you're a newt, I'd say, I'm your bore scamander. Hopefully that's his name. But so, where was I? Totally confused. So, yeah, I'm here to keep you company as you fall asleep. Also, another thing that can throw off new listeners, regular listeners love this part, is the intro and the structure of the show. So I'll explain that to you. So the show starts off with a greeting. Then there's business, so about 4 or 6 minutes of business or something. That's how we're able to keep the podcast free and reminders about the business, because that's how, like, it's here for you free twice a week. Then there's an intro. The intro is not business related at all, other than the business, nonsense. So the intro, what was I saying? So the intro is like 12 to 18 to 20 minutes of me trying to explain what the podcast is. You've already seen it in action, and then I just go off topic. And what I say to myself every intro is, well, actually, there is a bit of self-talk that goes into it. You see, my goal is to explain to the new person what the podcast is. Tell them about the structure. Tell them they don't need to listen. Tell them that there's no pressure to fall asleep. And that's like a normal intro of a podcast would be about that long. They just say, 1, 2, 3. We're talking to Newts. Today we're going to be talking about that great Newton novel. Newton was not a newt. It's Alvin Newt exploring the worlds of physics. And they say, so let's get to it. And they would get to it. For me, one, I'm not very good at that. But two, the whole idea of the intro is that you ease into bedtime. So most people start listening before they get in bed. But there's no right or wrong way. Then a lot of other people start listening once they're in bed. 2% of people skip ahead to 20 minutes. They start the show at about 20 minutes. And then there's people that listen all night on either Patreon or they just run these streams, the free episodes all night. So, but that's a smaller percentage too. But so the whole idea of the intro is that you can, because I don't have a way personally or professionally to just instantly put myself or anyone else to sleep. Or to do it, sleep and efficiency, we know, you're listening to the show. They don't there's not a lot of overlap for us, unfortunately. For that other person in bed, they might have the most efficient sleep and the snoring and the blanket hogging down. So what I've seen work is just easing things into bedtime, like a long runway, to help you get comfortable and let the day drift away. So that's why the intro is about 20 minutes, or 12 to 20 minutes long or so. And if you become a regular listener, you could say, well, I think I'm that 2% that skipped the intro. And then you could always change your mind. That's a great thing about the show. You could try it every single way and see what works. And then particularly at this time, a lot of people are listening during the day while they do chores or other daily tasks, just to have a just mental distraction to take their mind off of things. So those are the things I was going to talk about. I think that's it. Oh, no, the rest of structure show. Then I guess tonight we'll be talking about newts in some sense. And so there'll be, the intro will end in a few minutes. Then we'll have some business. Then we'll do this Newt cast. I don't know what it'll be. And then we have some thank yous. So that's the structure of the show and kind of the reasons why we do it, like structurally. The reason why I make the show, and you probably can read between the lines, is I've been there, right? Tossing and turning, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep. That's where I'm at right now. And then it becomes a cycle, right? Then for me, I stop looking forward to bedtime. Now, I do have an anchor, which is my bedtime routine, which is why I make the show, too, is like I've learned that having an anchor or having a keystone or habit or whatever you want to call it, some kind of small bedtime routine, at least it makes it a little bit easier. And if there's something nice in there or something neutral, in this case, you'll say, well, sleep with me. I wouldn't call it nice. I'd say it's not half bad. It's like, it's 51% pretty darn great, and then 22% meh, yeah. And then whatever, you could rate it however you wish. Oh, that's another podcast, ratemynewts.com. That's more, I'm not into that one because it's people, what do they call those? People, people that like, cohabitate with newts. I mean, not like that, like, what do they call that when you're like a newt caretaker? And then they're more into how their newts look, which I say, come on, Like, aren't we being, like, you see, all newts are beautiful. So, I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, what was that? What was I going to say? Structure. Oh, why I make the show? Because I've been there. I know how it feels, and I want to give you something to be a part of your bedtime routine that maybe you could look forward to, or at least it relieves some of the tension there. And that leads into why, the real why. You deserve a good night's sleep. That's why I make the show, and that's why I hope it can help you, because I want you to have a safe place to rest. And as someone that struggles with that, no one deserves that, right? And it would be so much nicer for you in your life if you had that. So hopefully I can provide that or be one part of it. That's what most regular, because people have listened to the show now for like 7 years. And I get to know some of those people and hear their journeys. And yeah, now they say, well, I have this whole other routine. Or some people stop listening for a while. They listen when they're in university. And then they take a break because then they're kind of like, and then they get their second or first job, or then they start a family, or then we're going through this thing as a globe. But a lot of people hear, oh yeah, so this is now sleep with me is part of my bedtime routine, but also these other things are. So just see how it goes. I mean, if you're new, I hope I can help you. And if you're a regular listener, you know how much it means to me to be able to help. So thank you so much for coming back night after night after night. And I think that's it. I mean, I'm glad you're here. I work very hard. I yearn and I strive. I want to help you fall asleep. Again, I appreciate you coming by. And here's a few ways I'm able to bring you this podcast for free. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about our newest sponsor, Sweaty Betty. Now, I know a lot of us have been wearing comfortable clothes around the house when we go to work online, but my daughter just got a pair of power leggings from Sweaty Betty. She said they are the most comfortable workout pants she has ever owned, and she's a teenager, so that is a very, very high praise. She also was blown away by the selection of prints, but it's really the fabric, the material, and the feel. I mean, you have to see these fun prints. We had such a good time looking through them, saying, which pair would we get? And of course, I'm jealous. I have Sweaty Betty FOMO. For over 20 years, Sweaty Betty's 5-star rated power leggings have helped women crush their workouts. Because no other athletic brand can compete with the Sweaty Betty Power Leggings' expertly placed seams and squat-tested compression fabric. I mean, the mission of the company is to empower women through fitness to feel their best. Quick drying and pocket-equipped, these leggings are high-waisted performers. Take their quiz at sweatybetty.com to find your perfect style and choose from a wide selection of strategically cut patterns. And again, you got to see these fun prints. And okay, I'm going to reach down right now. I have a pair of Sweaty Betty leggings in my hands. I don't think I've ever, I wish I was wearing these myself. The fabrics are the best in market. As I said, they feel amazing and they look great too. Sweaty Betty's power leggings have opaque fabric, adjustable drawstring waist, back and side pockets that are able to combine the ability to stay active, to feel good, and to feel good about how you look. You say, oh boy, do I look at, cover your ears, SEXY, and these, gives me even more FOMO. From London to LA, over 500,000 happy bums count on Sweaty Betty to help them look and feel incredible. Now, this is a limited time offer, so now through November 1st, you can get 20% off your entire purchase when you visit sweatybetty.com/sleep. That's only till November 1st, and this is the best offer Sweaty Betty has available anywhere. So do not wait, because you deserve to look amazing before, during, and after your workout. Get 20% off your entire purchase at sweatybetty.com/sleep. Now, that's only till November 1st, and it's spelled sweatybetty.com/sleep. Get over there. And then as soon as you get your leggings, as soon as you order them, tag me, tag Sweaty Betty. Let me know what print you got, what cut did you get. So anyway, sweatybetty.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. All right, hey, everybody, this is Scoots. I'm going to be so I wanted to let you know a couple things. So this episode is going to be about a bunch of new Newt podcasts coming to you. But this episode I did like I wanted to dedicate it to Harris Wittels. Harris is someone who made me laugh a lot, and I'm going to have a link to a fund that Harris's sister Stephanie set up in his memory. So if you want to support that, you can just check it out. But really, if you want to laugh, you could listen to Analyze Fish with Harris and Scott Aukerman. It was a podcast where Harris was kind of trying to talk Scott and convince Scott into becoming a fan of the band Fish, or all the things that Harris loves about Fish. And it's definitely worth a listen if you like Fish or you like music. And when I was thinking about Newts, I started thinking about the other Scott Aukerman music podcasts. I don't know how to say them. He does them with the guy with great hair, Adam Scott, the greatest hair. I say, man, if I had that hair, I'd be so successful. I don't know if the hair comes with the charm and the charisma that Adam Scott has. But so Scott and Adam had, Are You Talking REM to RE Me? And then it originally started out with You Talking U2 to Me. So I don't know, like I just thought of, like those, when as soon as I think of those, I think of Harris and I think of Analyzed Fish. I guess I probably should, I guess I kind of blew it because they said, well, you have all those fish-related episodes so you could have done. And I said, well, okay, once again, it's fine. But so that's it. I just wanted to do a little setup there. So we're talking tonight about Newts, and Newt, like we got a big announcement of a lot of new Newt podcasts. Because I Googled, and I believe it or not, don't Google it because you say, and then I Google, like, so there's not a lot of new, there probably are some that I have to dig deeper, but we're going to launch a whole new slate of Newt podcasts tonight. Yeah, but I did want to touch on, before I start a whole the Newt Network, that's what we're calling it, I probably should know some stuff about newts. And where do I learn basic, scratching the surface information, but Wikipedia? And believe it or not, I didn't know this, but I did wonder it. A newt is a salamander in the subfamily Pleurodilinae. Plural delineant, and so the terrestrial juvenile phase is called an eft. Unlike other members of the family Salamanderidae, newts are semi-aquatic, so they can alternate between aquatic and terrestrial habitats. Not all aquatic salamanders are newts, though. So if you're wondering why a newt is so wet, they say, well, that's just because I move between habitats. I'd like to be a newt, I think. More than 100 known species of newts are found in North America, Europe, North Africa, and Asia. Newts metamorphose through three life stages: aquatic, like aquatic being, which a terrestrial juvenile. I think I've been in the terrestrial juvenile phase my entire life, or eft, and adults. Adults have bodies that you've seen on other beings before, and they return to the water every year to create other newts. And they like to live in humid, cover-rich land habitats. The old English name of the animal was Epheta, resulting in the Middle English eft. That was translated into other words. Then the N, something happened with that. This eft was even used in Macbeth, maybe. That had to do with it. And then somehow it became Newt. I don't know. There's a lot of reading here if you're interested. Let's see. So semi-aquatic, according to this, means they live a part of the year in water, for that sweet, sweet newt love, as we call it, where they go, the newt prom, holding hands, and the great newt stork, semi-aquatic stork. that, brings the newt babies into the sea. Most species prefer stagnant water bodies such as ponds, ditches, or flooded meadows. Oh boy, flooded meadow. For newt creation. Some species such as the Danube crested newt. Holy cow. If I could go by a name, the Danube crested newt occur in slow flowing rivers. Man, look at these newts, the European brook newts and the European mountain newts. They live in colder, oxygen-rich mountain streams, and during the terrestrial phase, newts live in humid habitats with abundant cover, such as logs, rocks, or earth holes. Never heard of an earth hole before, but why can't they call it a terrestrial opening? Let's see. They have semi-permeable glandular skin, 4 limbs, a distinct tail. It's not as smooth as other salamanders, so don't get it twisted. There's rough newts out there. They external gills when they're babies. They can regenerate stuff. Holy cow, a lot of different stuff. Wow, this is interesting stuff, man. It makes me even more want to be a newt. And so that's a little bit about newts development. We don't want to get into that. Wait, there's something about frogs and toads. Let's see. Newts, male newt transfers to a spermatophore, which is taken. So yeah, they meet up at courtship rituals of varying complexity, which take place. That's the prom and the hand holding, varying complexity. Some newts just hold hands and then the magic happens. Other newts have to dance or dress up and stuff. Then single egg laying attached to aquatic plants. So not free floating like frogs or toads. And they even can fold over the leaves. Cool. So that's just a little bit about newts. Those are facts. But we're launching this new podcast network, and I'm going to be running through some of the fall slate here for 2020, late fall 2020, maybe 2020 to 2030, or maybe just one day far off in the future. We here at the Newt Network will be proudly turning, and I'm going to turn things over to Reginald. You're going to get a multiple. So our network head is Mr. Reginald Kuzak, who's a designer, brilliant. Thank you, Scooter. This is Reginald Kuzak of the Kuzaks and the Happily Enrobed Robe Shop. And I'm here talking about our launch this fall or one day. This is our special launch show of podcasts, possibly there could be TV shows about newts, and we're really excited to come up with. We were supposed to, come up with ideas about shows and podcasts about newts and newt-related things. And, first one is like our first show that we're launching. It's called Pyramid of Newts. And Scooter wanted to keep this all audio, which I said, Scooter, but Pyramid of Newts, that sounds a bit like a reality show. And he said, no, Reginald, it'll be a game show. Remember, didn't we do a game show one before? And I said, Scooter, that may have been before we met. But I see, so when I see it, I see the stage, which we would create via audio. Not that different than the $20,000 pyramid. And then Scooter said, well, Reggie. And I said, Reginald or Mr. Kuzak, please. And he said, okay. Is it going to be newt? Is it a game show for newts, by newts? Or is it a game show for humans about newts? And I said, Scooter, will this podcast network be taking place exclusively in your imagination, or is it going to transfer to the real world? And he said, Reginald, it'll take place on the transverse plane, a place where all universes and impossibilities intersect, behind a bed and breakfast that Scooter sometimes goes and works at. And I said, well, in that case, Pyramid of Newts could be I guess if it's audio, it'd probably be a game show where maybe we check in with Newts, because we got to keep it relatable to human, Scooter, unless you're switching Sleep With Me to pure Newt cast. And then you'd have, would your show be terrestrial or aquatic? And he said, Reginald, come on, you know how long it's going to take for Newts? You know how long it's taken humans to adopt podcasting? It'll take Newts a while, one day. So for now, Scooter said, why don't we imagine this? If we're trying to appeal to the humans out there, like one of the requirements, and this could be like the great second, the part of the National Lampoon's movie, the second one, Vacation movie. He goes, if to come on Pyramid of Newts, you have to dress as a newt. And maybe you have to, then maybe it's just like a regular game show other than that. And I said, Scooter, what if they have to do different kinds of challenges dressed as a newt? And I said, okay, wait a second. So you're talking about a show where humans try to live as newts, dressed as newts. I don't know if we'd call that Pyramid of Newts, though. And I said, what about Newt Pyramid? And I said, I don't know, Scooter. I think maybe, because just when I say pyramid, I picture a pyramid of people, and Scooter said, weren't those, no. I think you're right, like $20,000 pyramid with just people dressed as newts. And then I said, Scooter, how does $20,000 pyramid work? And he said, well, maybe it could be a show for newt experts, or you have to learn about newts before it, or maybe you use newts to get people, because he goes, isn't that the show where celebrities try to help people guess things? And I said, Scooter, I'm guessing at everything right now. And he said, orange, let's just pretend there's such a thing as, we could use imaginary newts, but orange speckled newt, and I said, you're losing me. He said, okay, let's just pretend the answer that you're trying to guess is orange. And, but you have to use a newt to describe it. And I said, Scooter, this is going to be a very niche show. I don't even know what niche it fits into. And Scooter said, anyway, Reginald, so I would say you have to use it. That's it. You just have to use a newt to describe everything. So warm, what did I say the word was? Oh, yeah. Like sunlight, like sunset. This newt, maybe it's a color orange, so we can't use color or orange. This sun, what you would drink at breakfast, orange, you would paint it on a wall, the color orange. That would be one, Reginald. Okay, Scooter, could you use one that's like a celebrity? Okay, should I use an old celebrity, like a celebrity from the past and a celebrity from the present? Sure, Scooter. Okay, this celebrity wears a Hawaiian shirt, drives a Ferrari, privately solves things in Hawaii, mustache that is like, usually has a few buttons open, Magnum PI, Scooter. Okay, this one started recording in their home. They not idle. Or, oh boy, I'm trying to think, not, this Newt would say, can we use rhymes, Reginald? Sure, Scooter, but I'm not sure. This Newt's first name would rhyme with silly. Okay, Scooter, I got the first name. Not idle rhymes with silly. And the Newt's second name would rhymes with like, if you said it's like your stomach-ish, like Scooter Billy Ellie-ish. It was correct, right? So that worked. Okay, so that's our first show is a Newt Pyramid. Our second show is we're calling, let me just look it up here on the notes. Oh boy, I guess this is another game show. IQ Champion. So Scooter, this is really, so this is just going to be 20 questions. Is that right, Scooter? Yeah, because I think like that was like, just because I think IQ, like I don't want it to feel exclusive or excluding. And I don't know, the whole IQ thing, it's great for people that get whatever, but otherwise, Scooter, what about this? Here's just an idea. What if we change it to EQ Champion? Okay. Is that what it's called? Emotional, like, isn't it EI, emotional intelligence, not emotional? Scooter, I don't know, but I was thinking that same thing. Oh, wow. You are on to something. So we could use personified newts to help people raise their emotional intelligence. That's exactly what I'm saying. But in a game, so it would be that's what we're good at too, is fictional game shows anyway. So it's a fictional game show where every week a Newt family comes on, or different groups of Newts, fictional personified human Newts. Scooter, would this be animated? Well, it's going to be a podcast. Remember, you got to remember this is theater of the mind. So not that I'm an expert at it, but so it would be a podcast of a game show. So if you want to animate it in your mind, that's fine. Okay, Scooter, I'm learning. Yeah, you're good at learning. I mean, you're great at design, so that's why I have you here, Reggie. Okay, so each week, so one time it would be coworkers, you're saying. Another time it might be students, families, individuals, and each week it would be a different theme, possibly, Scooter. Yeah, and they would come on and compete, and of course this would be science-backed. We'd partner with one of the, we'd learn about what we're doing for this one, as long as we got the funding. Otherwise, then we just totally fictionize, But it's probably best if we're going to delve into emotional intelligence to use some emotional intelligence and say, let's pause and figure out what we're doing. Okay, Scooter. So imagining we have funding to partner with emotional intelligence experts, what would the game show be like? I think we would still probably call there's the show The Family Feud, right? So I think maybe we'd use that as a guise and like a familiar platform. We'd have to remake it. And I don't think we could, even though Family Feud is perfect, because you say, well, we're here to undo the feud, but we don't want to make it too vanilla, because then no one will want to. This is one thing I know, Reggie. You can't please everybody all the time. And if you try to, then you say, well, there you go. How many saltine crackers does someone have a week? Except for people that are huge fans of saltine crackers. Scooter, I have no idea. Correct. I mean, I'm sure that they're so that's just a fake example anyway. But let's get back to this show. So it'd be Newt families. We'll think of a name. Aren't they called fries when they're little? I don't know. We'll think of a name because we can't use Family Feud. Is actually perfect. Salamander. what do we call them? The Newt feud. We could call it Newt feud. We're calling it EQ champion. Is that what you said? Scooter, that's what we're going for. I guess we could just say EQ champion. And then maybe we have a running joke on the show where people say, well, what does EQ stand for? We say, well, maybe EI. I don't know. I think there's some company that owns EQ, though, so we could partner with them. As long as they realize that, it'll be they'll be sending the income. They won't be receiving it. Scooter, I would presume that most of the emotional intelligence companies are in it for the love of emotional intelligence and not for profit. Well, you would think. This is for Salamander, so it could be a whole different thing. Newts, Scooter. Oh, you're right. Well, we could have Salamander week, too. Scooter, could we have Toad week? We could. But let's not get carried away, though. We don't want to have Bird week, and then we lose our, So, Scooter, what would an episode be like? It would be just like a Family Feud. It'd basically be a copy of Family Feud, but we would change around the questions to both. This is where we'd have to be like tricky but straightforward. The questions would meant to be challenging, but also to reveal and teach you emotional intelligence, kind of by self-discovery. Like we'd say, survey says, we asked 150 people. I think they just say 100 people because that actually math works out. But how long is the most effective eye contact when you first meet someone and you're trying to establish rapport? That, we trim it down. This would benefit, and they say, somebody would buzz in and they'd say, whatever, green speckled newt family, go ahead, say, I'm Connie. Say, okay, Connie, go ahead. Connie the newt, red speckled newts. I'd say 4 seconds. I say survey says, number 2 answer on the board, 4 seconds. Connie, let's see. I'm Edna. Okay, Edna. We're Blue Danube Crested Newts. Okay, Edna, the Blue Danube Crested Newt. Number 1 answer is still on the board. What we asked 100 people. And then you go and do, if you say, Edna, what's it like in that? I've always wanted to go to that Blue Danube and see how blue it is. I hear it's so slow moving. That's what makes it good for newts. And could I just say that you and your family have some of the nicest crests I've ever seen on newts before, almost balanced by the speckles on the other side. But so, Edna, we asked 100 people what, something like how long is what's the ideal amount of eye contact when you first meet someone to establish rapport? The number 2 answer was 4 seconds. Number 1 answer is still on the board. I don't know. Do you steal or pass? I don't know. And it says, do you want to try to steal it or pass, Edna? I say, I'll try to steal. Okay, number 1 answer is still on the board, 2 seconds. Edna said, okay. Survey says, we don't know the real answer, Reggie, but so say 2 seconds, they would steal it, and then they try to get that. And then they say, then we do the next one would be, what are the, somebody once said, these are the 5 A's of active listening. What is one of the 5 A's of somebody's active listening? No, we'd say it so anybody could guess. The great, listening expert on active listening once said, there's 5 A's of active listening. What is one of the 5 A's of active listening? And maybe someone would say, maybe like Larry, the blue they'd be the red speckled newt, says, acquiesce. You say, oh boy, Larry. Larry said, acquiesce. A survey says, no. Sorry, Larry. Nice try to use a word to make yourself sound intelligent. I would have done that too. But this is about emotional intelligence, which I'm not exhibiting by my behavior right now this second, Larry. But now I'll apologize. I'm sorry for making light of your terrible answer. Anyway, over here to the Blue Danube Crested Newt family with the opportunity to steal 5, actually, there'd probably be 7 answers on the board, 2 of which are probably wrong, maybe more. What is one of the 5 A's of active listening? And it was, maybe, I don't know, is that when they steal when they can whisper an answer, or is it the other person? I think that's the other person. Say, beep, 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 beep. I think acknowledging. And this is show me acknowledging. And then I say, bang, yep. Oh, that's number 4 answer on the board, acknowledging. So does that make sense, Reggie? Scooter, that makes a lot of sense. Can we move on to the next show in our launch here? Because we're running a little bit behind. Yeah, sure, Reggie. What is next? Scooter, I'm looking up what is next. And the next show we're launching is called Strong Pull. What happened? Remember all the other shows I proposed yesterday? Like you're talking Newt to me. The Scooter, that's already that would be like, would it be a parody podcast of, or you talking to Newts? Scooter, Scooter, these are the ones we had listed, but those are good ideas too. I think those are great ideas. What about 1-800-NEWT? It could be a little bit like Beautiful Anonymous. Yeah, Larry the Newt would probably call in, Scooter, and say, geez, I was on this game show. I was a personified newt. I don't even know what I'm supposed to personify anymore. Okay, what's the name of the new show again? Because I just want to move on now. Oh, yes, sure, Scooter. It's called Strong Pull. Okay. Really, this, I wouldn't have thought of, it doesn't sound very nudie. Scooter, that sounds like a naughty word, even though it's not. Nudie? You like that, huh, Reggie? Well, we used a randomizer to come up with these ideas, Scooter, so that's how we got Strong Pull. Well, I like to play against the type, so I don't want to do the strongest newt in the world, though I'm tempted to, especially for a podcast. I don't know. So maybe it's like a fiction. Maybe this could be our first audio fiction, Strong Pull. It could be new. I love romance. I love romanflets and love that blaze, especially, and our great friend Chuck Tingle. But this could be, ideally, humans would read it, but it'd be Newt, Erotic, however you spell that. So Newt, and maybe actually here's an idea, Reggie. Again, if we had funding, science-based Newt, fiction, with a touch of blaze, for newts, but humans be again. I think maybe it's teaching. Yeah, how about that, Reggie? Like we teach them. I guess it would be for adults only. But we could teach about the science of newts, or I guess all amphibians, because otherwise we'd run out. Through these new role play novels, where where you're stealthily learning about, like you say, well, I didn't realize like the mating rituals of different newt species or amphibian species. Okay, Scooter. So let me just see. So, you like, I'm trying to think of any not super on the note, because I know you like the ones with, like those aren't blazed, so the ones with cowboys and horses and you know, other cow people. Yeah, we could do one, like, we could do one, like, I guess, yeah, we'd do like a hand for a ranch hand, like, or, you know, two hands, a handful of ranch hand, you know, two hands for a ranch hand. I think a hand for a ranch hand is good. And it could be a story. It could be, you know, about, I don't know any facts. I'm out of newt facts. But yeah, we could you could use that as the story backdrop. A hand for a ranch hand. I mean, there's plenty of ways to go with that story, even, you know, in interesting directions. But we use that to actually teach science-based, fact-based, you know, that we don't have, about, newt reproduction. And then, you know, maybe, I don't know who would consume it, but I guess as audio fiction, people might like it. Be very niche, I guess, again. Okay, Scooter, I just want to keep us on track. So our next show is called X'd X's. And that's EXE, X'd X's. Okay, well, I guess this is our, like, a Newts After Dark time. So this is another show. I mean, this would have to be Newts After Dark. So that first one, I guess if we could be the first podcast network that hasn't been tried because it wouldn't work, but for us it might, where we program across the day. Because I think, you know, most of them are doing, the news networks are kind of trying to do that, the AM and the PM. But we could do that. So you have your science-based one. And then, so that one's more like titillating without, you know, and you're getting facts about the newts. But then it's like Newts After Dark. You're not going to learn anything in these ones. And I guess it could be like a newt going through their history, like maybe it could be even or it could be like one of those shows where you interview your exes, but I think it'd be more recounting, you know, something like that. That the new. Okay, Scooter, I could see where you're going with that one. And it sounds plausible. Let's move on to the next show, which is called Bubble. And could you tell us about what to expect on Bubble? Okay, well, Bubble is going to be, I think, a show where, again, I think we have to focus on empathy and compassion for this one. And I think a newt is a great example of this. So again, I think it could be fictional stories told with thematically guided by newts leaving their bubble, because newts got to do that anyway. Like you say, well, newts, a resting newt, gathers no progeny because, land-based, I got to be in the water and I got to be on land sometimes. And so we could follow newts, like as they move between those two worlds and the lessons they learn. So maybe we have one or two protagonists, and we kind of see their stories and they say, well, like, because, I mean, I guess, and again, we'd have to personify it. So we'd have to stretch it out and, mammalize it, which I don't necessarily feel that great about, because it's like, I feel like we're over projecting. But again, once newts start listening to podcasts, we can change all this up and just make it more newt based. But you say, okay, so in this one, maybe in reality, newts don't live at home till they're 18, but in this world, they do. And can you imagine? I mean, that wouldn't be, can you imagine being a teenager and your parents are like, okay, we got to move, drop everything, say goodbye to your friends. We're moving back to the water, the tepid water for a while. Also bring your earplugs and your, eye mask, because, mom and dad are going to be, doing like, where we do the prom thing and hand holding. So you don't want to know about, like, no teen would be, so a teen would probably go out for a lot of walks. And you say, I got to go for a swim around this tepid, get away from home base, and I miss my friends. So it would give the newt a chance to explore new things. And then you'd say, well, right when I got, so that could be like season 1. And then season 2 is like back to land. Right when I got comfortable meeting all these other sea creatures and sea plants. So Scooter could also teach about biology a little bit. I mean, not that, but, the biomes and aquatic life and terrestrial life. I think it could. I think that would be a really good use of it. I'd be excited to see that. So would I, Scooter. That sounds like a very interesting show. Okay, let's move on to our next one, which is called Donkey Kong 1, Scooter. I think that's probably, I don't think we'd be able to get the rights to that one, Reginald. Okay, Scooter, well, let me just hear what your pitch is, just because, I can't help when the randomizer, you gave me the numbers, I came up with the list. Okay, well, Donkey Kong 1, could we put a subtitle on it, like the Newt years? I mean, I think we could figure it out. The tale of Donkey Kong, maybe one time, because Donkey Kong is like in Donkey Kong 1 particularly, Donkey Kong's not the greatest. Donkey Kong's grouch, just like in the movies, climbing buildings, taking, bringing people along, throwing barrels near things that could be, create other, not climb and construct, they say, we're building a building here. Why you got to be jumping around on it, our girders, and putting Mario through things. I mean, that's one version. I'm sure Donkey Kong has Donkey Kong's version. So maybe there's a couple options here. We could just do it, again, audio fiction. Donkey Kong, it could be a Newt narrator, or it could be that the Newt and Donkey Kong were best friends, and we do a prequel. I mean, that's a pretty easy way to do it. We could, change names and say, oh, no, this is, we can't use Diddy Kong because I think that was another Donkey Kong's kid. But we create a story where, like out in the Donkey Kong country. Okay, Scooter, I could see that. That's something I can see happening. Okay, what do we got next? Okay, Scooter, next up is Polar Bat. Polar Bat. And I say, okay, well, this one we could, this is challenging. So I think it would be, because from what we know about newts is they need humidity, like some of them could live in colder water, so some of those European newts. And there's a whole idea like a fish out of water. So this could be a newt out of water, and again, I guess we'd have to go with audio fiction and personification. Or there's two options. Okay, Scooter, give them to me. One is a fish out of water tale about a European, cool water newt who takes a position working at the North or the South Pole. And because they're staying inside most of the time, they have like a humid environment that they can live in, like during their terrestrial time. Now, obviously, that's also the time where the newts are looking to procreate. So in an isolated, somewhat area like that, the newt's going to be like having, some strong feelings, especially if it's other non-newt scientists, right? Or something, we could work in some sort of soap operatic thing. But I was thinking that then it becomes like a sports drama, like where everyone, like, so maybe this is just it's just a jumping off point for other characters that are at this polar workstation. And they're all going through the same thing. And so they, together, they find that they have a love of snowball baseball, polar bat, they call it. And, it becomes a thing. And, then there's some sort of story. Okay, Scooter, that's interesting. That's perfect for a sleep podcast for sure. Yeah, the other one would be we could do the Newt is really just the eyes of the audience, and there's some scientist, and she has a pet Newt, and she goes to like the North Pole or the South Pole to study, and she could be studying a polar bat, or it could be, but then it would be her story or her and her coworkers' stories. But very similar, but just with humans instead of personified newts, because we've done a lot of personification of newts here. Scooter, I think I like your second idea, like overlaid on the first. Like, so a lot of the things, maybe she like a lot of the subtext plays out between her relationship with the newts and some of the newts, we could work some science into it. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, Scooter, our next show is Turtles 4. It's called Turtles 4, eh? Okay, well, that's a good one. I think maybe this could be, at first I was thinking about it as like some of the obvious things, but then I was thinking, what if could we rebrand it? We could just say Turtles 4. It doesn't have to be like, so the premiere episode. So this is a story about turtles, I guess personified once again, that are for something. In each episode, they have a star-studded, like concert or variety show or performance, to raise money for something. The first episode is like for newts, the most, whatever newt cause needs the most, conservation or habitat purchasing or whatever. And maybe it's a little bit of a reality show. Like we follow the turtles, like it's not just, it's like the turtles are planning the benefit, and then they're leading up, some stars are like, wait, are you a turtle calling me? How'd you get this number? And they say, well, do you want to be there or not? They say, what's it for? Newts. Wait, Newt or Newts? And they say, no, Newts. Okay, I'll be there. And then you could, having Bette Midler there singing to Newts. You can't beat that. All right, Scooter, this is our last show here for the launch, and this one is called Say Cross, SEICROSS. It's the last show we're going to be doing. Okay, Say Cross. Wow, so that one kind of is open because that must be the name of something else that got randomized. So I think we got to cover, so we have like Newts After Dark covered. It feels like we have a primetime block of fiction. We have that, we have like a game show, an AM and a PM game show. Maybe we could, we have something we could soap opera. We've got some midday coverage. So what about news, like an AM and PM news show, a short daily news show? And maybe we just use that as the name of maybe it's run by, I guess, like, then we're fictionalizing. I mean, Newt News, and Newt News Network. Here we are at the Newt. I'm Say Cross, coming to you live from the Newt News Network, where Newts report the news, because we had that bubble one, right? So maybe the Newts, maybe it gives us, because the whole idea of news is like, if it's presented to us, what would happen if our news was presented to us as from a non-human perspective? What perspective would that give us on the news? And maybe that's a requirement. We hire real journalists, but you can only, you have to filter all of your writing and your reporting. You have to empathize. You could choose your Newt and it's audio, so then it's easier, because we don't have to present it. You say, hi, I'm Golden Newt. Thanks, Say Cross. I'm here reporting, from the great ice cream spill, where all the ice cream got spilled. And, humans are we've never seen this behave. I guess we're newts. We eat off the ground all the time. But humans are eating the ice cream up, and it's causing traffic, and it's melting. But it could be real news too. And maybe seeing the news through the eyes of the newts, from the eye of the newt to Ute, news network. You say, well, geez, it's maybe it would revolutionize things. It would be very, very hard. We'd have to have very stringent rules. You say, well, is Newt News neutral on things? You say, well, no, it's because, we're coming from a new perspective. So we definitely have, these priorities, for Newts. But yeah, Newts, not that we don't have a whole lot of emotions either. So I guess that would be the last piece of, Scooter, what about one last show, I think you could, Newt with me? The Newt cast that puts Newts you to Newt. We newt it with the Newt story. Scooter, I was hoping you'd do that. All you nude is get in bed and newt nay. I'm going to newt the rest. What I'm newting to new is to newt my noise across the newt narc night, and carry you off into dreamland. Good newt. All right, everybody. I want to thank everybody that reviewed the show on Apple Podcasts recently. I appreciate everybody that did that. Let's see. I want to thank JAV from the UK who said the intro's too long and didn't help, which is understandable. Then Madia from Canada said, love the all intro episodes. Not kidding. These are back to back. The repetition puts me right to sleep. Scooter's voice is so soothing. And a regular cat person says, I can't sleep without this. First time I listened to the podcast, I woke up what the heck is he talking about? But it didn't take long for the droning nonsense to become comforting enough to drop me off to sleep. I leave the podcast playing the whole night. Tell me fall asleep again when I wake up during the night. Not sure I can fall asleep without listening to the podcast at this point, but I don't care because I haven't tried. Verande from the U.S. says, out like a light. No idea what the podcast is or the stories are good or not. Or for all I know, I always fall asleep within the first few minutes. It's a perfect thing to get my brain to shut up and go to sleep. Thank you. Virgo Gold from Canada, best sleep podcast I've found. Takes a bit to get used to. Give it a week. Help me fall asleep so much easier. Nelly 1216. Exactly what I needed right now. There's a lot going on, and this lulls me to sleepy happiness. EJ Spur. I don't want to say that just in case they're from Canada. Favorite podcast, though not for everyone. This podcast has changed my life. Works so well. I totally understand if it's not for everyone. I was hesitant and weirded at first. With the silly stories and meandering tangents, I put a stop to the long history of sleepless nights. Terry and Julianne say very good. It gets the worries out of me so I can fall asleep. So thank you, everybody who took the time to review the show over on Apple Podcasts. You could do that on Apple Podcasts. Oh, wait, let me check. You could review the show right in your app or on your desktop. Just see if we have any other comments here. Just checking one more app. But, Sleep With Me exists as a free podcast because of people that support the show directly on Patreon or support our sponsors. So I really appreciate that. Everybody supports the show that way. And then we also grow. You could support the show for free by spreading the word. And then, over on Castbox, intro said creaky dulcet tones. Let's see. Paul didn't like episode 846. Isaiah didn't like the podcast has support. Those are comments. So thanks everybody for taking the time. And here's a podcast I want you to know about.